China is widely considered to be an unstoppable economic giant that dominates global trade and manufacturing. It is the factory of the world, a military superpower, and the primary rival to the United States. But if you look closely at the map, you will see that China has a hand around its throat. That invisible hand belongs to the United States Navy, and it is squeezing a tiny strip of water. This critical choke point is thousands of miles away from Beijing, but it controls China's destiny. It is called the Malacca Strait, and it represents the single greatest threat to the Chinese Communist Party. This narrow channel between Malaysia and Indonesia is the world's most critical maritime choke point for energy. 80% of China's oil imports must pass through this tiny strait to power their economy. Thousands of massive cargo ships carrying Chinese goods to Europe and Africa pass through here every single day. But here is the terrifying problem that keeps President Xi Jinping awake at night in Beijing. The Malacca Strait is heavily patrolled and effectively controlled by the United States Navy and its allies. In the event of a kinetic war over Taiwan, the United States does not need to invade mainland China. They simply need to park a few destroyers in the Malacca Strait and blockade the oil tankers. They can starve China of energy within weeks, causing the entire economy to collapse and the lights to go out. This strategic vulnerability is famously called the Malacca Dilemma, and it is China's ultimate nightmare. So, what do you do if your enemy controls the oceans and can cut off your lifeline at any moment? You change the game completely by stopping your reliance on the sea and going back to the land. This is the hidden logic behind the massive project known as the Belt and Road Initiative. On the news, you often hear that China is building roads, bridges, and ports in developing countries. They claim it is about global trade, mutual prosperity, and helping poor nations develop their infrastructure. But in reality, it is a survival strategy for the Chinese Communist Party to escape American encirclement. They are spending over $1 trillion to build a modern version of the ancient Silk Road. This includes high-speed railways cutting through Central Asia to reach the markets of Europe directly. It involves massive pipelines running through Pakistan to reach the Indian Ocean, bypassing the Malacca Strait entirely. And it includes strategic roads through Myanmar to create a direct access point to the Bay of Bengal. They are effectively building a backdoor for their economy so they are not trapped by the US Navy. So if the United States closes the front door by blocking the ocean, China can still breathe through the back door. I want to pause here and ask you a serious question about this massive global project. Do you think the Belt and Road Initiative is a genuine gift to help the world grow and prosper? Or is it a predatory, trap designed to colonize smaller countries and seize their strategic assets? There are strong arguments for both sides of this debate, so let me know what you think in the comments below. That this project is not just about pouring concrete and laying steel across the Eurasian continent. It is fundamentally about political influence and creating a new world order centered around Beijing. When China builds a deep-water port in Sri Lanka or a railway in Kenya, they are not doing it for charity. They loan the money to these developing countries at commercial interest rates, knowing they might struggle to pay. And if the country cannot pay the money back, China exercises its rights to take control of the infrastructure. This exact scenario happened in Sri Lanka at the strategic Hambantota port, which is now under Chinese control. They couldn't pay the mounting debt, so they were forced to lease the port to China for 99 years. Now, China has a strategic naval foothold right in the middle of the Indian Ocean, threatening its rivals. This strategy scares one country more than anyone else in the region, and that country is India. India looks at the map and sees that it is being slowly surrounded by Chinese-controlled ports and bases. China is building a port in Pakistan to the west, effectively encircling India from that side. They have a port in Sri Lanka to the south, and another port in Myanmar to the east. Military experts call this strategy the String of Pearls, and it is designed to choke India strategically. It looks like a necklace of innocent commercial ports on a map, but in reality, it is a military news. This brings us to a terrifying conclusion about the true nature of the Belt and Road Initiative. It is not just a trade route, it is a preparation for a global conflict with the West. China is actively sanction-proofing its economy to ensure it can survive if it is cut off from the global system. They saw exactly what happened to Russia when the West cut them off from SWIFT and global trade. And they are making sure that the same economic strangulation cannot happen to them if they invade Taiwan. However, building massive infrastructure projects through unstable and dangerous countries is incredibly risky and difficult. Terrorist groups in Pakistan frequently attack Chinese engineers and construction sites, slowing down critical projects. Governments in Africa are starting to complain about the crushing debt and are pushing back against Beijing. The project is slowing down due to economic issues within China itself, and the West is finally waking up. The United States and Europe are realizing that while they were distracted, China was buying the rest of the world. So we have covered the island of Taiwan and the importance of the microchips in our first video. And now we have covered the trade route and China's desperate attempt to escape its geographic prison. But there is one giant player standing in China's way that we cannot ignore in this geopolitical puzzle. A country with 1 billion people, nuclear weapons, and a rapidly growing economy that rivals China's. A country that has deep historical conflicts with China and is increasingly building ties with the West, India. But India has its own secret strategy and is playing a complex game between East and West. In our next video, we are going to look at the new superpower on the block and its potential. Why is Apple moving its massive iPhone factories from China to India? And what does it mean? And can India really replace China as the world's factory? Or is that just a Western fantasy? See you in the India video.